Hey, what's up guys? This is Nick from Nick Expose. On this episode of 2 Minute Tuesday, we're going to wrap up this little mini series that we've been talking about selling our work. So for the last 5 weeks, we've been talking about selling zines and prints and whatever it might be, but selling our photography, selling our artwork to start making a side income, to start funding future projects. I highly suggest that you go and check out the first 4 videos in this little mini series before we go into today. So actually today we're going to jump into like 3 actionable steps to where you can start selling prints today. If you've never sold a print before, if you don't even know where to begin on selling a print, I'm gonna walk you through it. I got 3 simple steps that I'm not gonna guarantee, but I'm gonna say is going to increase your likeliness in being able to make a print sale or a zine sale by the end of the day or by the end of the week or whatever it might be. But before we go into that, I highly suggest going and checking out the other videos in this little mini series if you haven't seen them already. I actually put them into a little playlist. I'll link to it up top here. This video will actually go into that playlist. And then subscribe to that playlist, because as I continue making videos outside of the 2 Minute Tuesday series on selling work, I'll start adding them back into that playlist and just expand on that conversation of being able to help you guys make money or make more money with your artwork. So this is the thing. I've been getting questions like, people have been loving this little mini series. We've been talking about it over and over. We've been talking about it on the live streams, but I've been getting questions of, I love this stuff, but how do I actually put it into practice? What are some practical applications? And that's what I want to give you today. I'm giving you 3 practical applications that you could put into practice today. And it's probably only going to take you maybe 15, 20 minutes, and you'll probably get a sale by the end of the week, at least, if you continue pressing into something like this. So without further ado, I'm going to cover these 3 things. It's a little bit of homework if you've never sold prints. If you've sold prints, then this is something that you could also try and start selling more prints. But first things first is, what are we going to sell? So I would suggest picking 2 or 3 different images that you're going to sell, and then picking one print size. So whether it be a 4x6 or an 8x10 or 11x14, I would say if you've never sold anything in the past, maybe start off small, 4x6s. When I started selling prints, I started selling 4x6s, and I'll talk about that in a second. But choose 2 to 3 images. If you remember back to our 5 common mistakes video, we talked about the idea of people coming into like purchasing paralysis when they have too many options. So what this does is we're going to choose 2 to 3 images that's going to limit their thought process, their choice, down to, do I want either this print or this print, or this print, this print, or this print? There's not too many options. They can make a educated purchasing decision, and they're that much more likely to purchase. Another thing I would suggest in this is going back to our second video talking about finding our target audience. If you don't know what your target audience is, this is a great way of choosing 3 different types of images or 2 different types of images. If you shoot macro photography and landscape photography, then choose one of both. If you shoot street photography and travel photography and still lifes, then choose one of all 3. But I would also suggest choosing something that's a little bit more ambiguous. You're not going to try and sell photos of your friends unless you're trying to sell it to your friends. So don't choose things that people would feel awkward of putting on their wall, but choose something that might be a little bit more abstract or fine art or a beautiful landscape or an interesting macro shot or something. But we're also putting ourselves in the thought process of our buyer, right? We're having that empathetic thought process to where we're going, what would this look like on someone's wall? So choose 2 or 3 different images and choose one size, 4x6, 8x10, whatever it might be. But those are your constraints, and we're going to stick to those. Action step number 2 is, where are we going to post them to start selling them? So this is what I would suggest, is posting them up on your Instagram stories. This is where I sell most of my prints at. This is a great way of being able to engage in a dialogue. People can immediately respond back to you. They can comment right as they're viewing the thing, and it goes to your direct message. So I would highly suggest posting them up on your Instagram story, but don't just post the prints up on the Instagram story. Oh, and also I'll point out, if you don't have prints made or if you don't have a printer, don't worry about that. I'm going to share some resources at the end to where you can actually drop ship, to where a company will print it and then send it directly to the person that purchased from you. So you don't even have to have prints on hand, and you don't even actually have to have any skin in the game until someone purchases. So I'll cover that at the end of the video. But 2 is when you share these images up on your Instagram story, you're either one, going to share the pictures of the prints if you already have it. We already talked about that in the 5 common mistakes about having good, solid photos of our work as we're trying to sell it. Or if you're just sharing the image, don't just share the image. A big thing, going back to the very first video in this series, is talking about that emotional response that people purchase based off of. So you want to start building that emotional response, and what does that is stories. You really want to share the story about the image. Tell the story of the image. What is it that drew you to the image in the first place? Why did you shoot it in that way? Why did you take that low angle and shoot up? Why did you, what were the obstructions that you had to work around? Start telling the story and getting people just involved in kind of bought into the whole experience of shooting it, the whole experience of printing it, the whole experience of whatever it might be. If you had an interesting developing story about it, start sharing as much as you possibly can about that image. And then start sharing what it is that you hope that they would experience in it. Sometimes we have to inform people as to what it is that they're supposed to feel when they see artwork. Not everyone knows how to respond to artwork, but we can give them education as we go. Start sharing the story on your story. And just do post after post. So you're going to share the post of the image, and then right after that, you share the story of the image. And then number 3, after you've picked your prints or picked your images that you're going to make prints of, then 2, you've shared your story about the prints. Then 3, you're going to ask for the sale. Again, this is super simple, but I can't tell you how many times I see people put it up there and they just kind of go, if you want prints, let me know. No, you want to ask for the sale. And then I would even say another point of this is give some sense of urgency. Say, hey, I'm doing a print sale this week. For this week only, it's going to be this price, and give them some urgency to where they actually step into making that purchase. One of the big questions that I've been getting over and over and over again as well is, how do I even know what to price my prints at? And this is what I would say. When I started selling my 4x6 prints back in the day, I started selling them for $10 a piece because that's what I was comfortable with. So I would say just price them at whatever you're comfortable with. After I sold a couple prints, after I sold maybe 5 prints, I jumped up to $15. And then after maybe 5 more, I jumped up to $25, and then to $35, and then $60, and all the way up to whatever I'm selling prints at any given moment. But it was a progressive thing to where as I got more comfortable with making sales, and as I got more comfortable with knowing that I can confidently sell these pieces at this price, I started pushing myself a little bit more outside of my comfort zone. And I started challenging myself and going, okay, I've sold it at this much for this long. Well, what happens if I bump it up another $10 and I start trying to ask and look into making more money with my artwork? But start off to wherever you're comfortable with, and then start pushing yourself up there as you make more and more sales. And then the last thing about asking for the sale is I get a lot of questions of how do I go about actually processing the whole order and everything like that. So when somebody reaches out to me and asks and says, yes, I would like to purchase this print, what I do is I'll either 1, send them a PayPal invoice, or 2, have them just PayPal me the money, and then I get their address right there in the DM on Instagram, right in the direct message, and then I just ship it out to them. But otherwise, I just get all their info there, and I just do the whole transaction right through there. It's super simple. PayPal is super inexpensive as far as receiving payments. I will say, as far as pricing your prints, you want to make sure that you price them to where you're actually getting your money's worth. You don't want to purchase your 4x6 print for $3 and then sell it for $5. There's not much of a margin there. So make sure that you're actually valuing your artwork. Make sure that you're actually getting a decent return, at least double or triple or quadruple of what it is that you have invested into it. I oftentimes, when I'm printing prints here at home, I'll be honest with you, I print them for pennies on the dollar, and then I sell them for a very decent amount because they're buying my artistic vision. They're not buying a piece of paper. Yes, it's put on the piece of paper, but they're not paying for the materials. That's not what they're buying. They're actually buying the response and the artistic expression that's put onto that material. So start thinking about it in that way. And then lastly, what I said earlier is there's 2 different resources that I would suggest checking out for doing drop shipping on prints, and that's AdoramaPix, I'll link to it down below, and then Mpix. Don't ask me why these guys go with PIX for Pix. think it was like an early 2000s thing or something. These aren't affiliate links. I have no ties to either of them. I've used both of them. I used to use Mpix quite a bit for a lot of our wedding work earlier in our wedding work years before I was printing all the stuff myself. And they do an amazing job. The prints there are absolutely incredible. If by off chance that it gets destroyed in shipping or it got misprinted or something like that, they're extremely, extremely good with their customer response on responding back and refulfilling the order. So I highly suggest checking out either of those. They're both great resources. But the nice thing about this is you don't have to have any skin in the game. Let's say you chose those 3 prints and you don't have to invest $15, $20, $30, $40, whatever you decided to invest into prints. You can actually put them up there and you don't actually go into print unless somebody actually makes the purchase. So that's a nice thing, is they do what's called drop shipping, to where once somebody purchases from you, then you go over to Mpix, you place the order through Mpix, and it gets delivered as if it came from you, straight from Mpix. It's a beautiful service, and I highly, highly recommend either one of those. So once again, 3 actionable steps to just start selling your work today. 1, choose 2 or 3 images. Choose one print format, 4x6, 8x10, whatever it is. 2, start posting the stories up on your Instagram story. And then 3, ask for the sale. Once you start getting confidence in this, process on this, then you could transcend it over to Etsy or Facebook or wherever else you want to start selling your work. But it's a very similar process to where you choose a small batch that you're going to sell, you start sharing the stories about that batch, and then you ask for the sale confidently. It's a 1, 2, 3 step process the entire way through. The beautiful thing is, after you make your first couple sales, when we talked about choosing a variety of images to try and offer out there, now you could start to see, okay, my audience really kind of gravitates towards landscape over my macro work. So now you can start honing in on expanding on trying to sell more of your landscape work or whatever it might be. So there's some like A/B testing in there and everything, to where this can only snowball up to being able to get more and more sales as you go on. So have fun with it, and then don't try and be too salesy. Don't expect to have anybody purchase a print. It's a beautiful thing when somebody purchases a print. I'm humbled anytime someone decides that they're going to exchange their monetary value for one of my prints, because it means that they value me as an artist. They value my creative vision, and I don't take that lightly. So a big thank you to every one of you guys who's print or purchased one of my prints or my zines in the past. I really do appreciate it. Anyways, this went a little bit longer than what I anticipated, but I think you guys got some super, super, super valuable, actionable steps. We're going to dive into this more in the live stream later on today, but I also want to hear you guys' questions down below. Leave your questions, and then if you take this step, I also want to hear whether you've been successful or whether you kind of hit some maybe failure, we'll call it that, but leave those in the comments. Come back a week later and let me know. Did you sell some prints? Did you not have any luck? And I'd love to continue working through it with you in the comments down below. But then, like I said, we're going to go into the live stream at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard here on YouTube Live later on today. And I look forward to just expounding on this conversation with you guys and really kind of walking with you guys as you start putting these actionable steps into action. If you're new or visiting to the channel, go ahead and check out some of the other videos. Like I said, go check out some of the first videos in this series, but there's seriously over 100 and I think even 25 different videos on the channel now, to where you can go back and see some of our older conversations, to where we dive into thinking in depth about our artwork, where we dive into photozines and how to make photozines and different photozine inspirations, and then how to make camera straps out of leather belts, all sorts of stuff. There's literally all sorts of content that I think you're really going to enjoy. We have an amazing community here. It's like a big family of film photographers and photographers in general. Let's just encourage each other and uplift each other and push each other to the next level. And I'm so humbled to be a part of it, and I think that you would really enjoy it as well. So like and subscribe down below. As always, a huge shout out and a huge thank you to our patron crowd, our patron family, the patron fam over there. So thank you guys. These guys have been stepping up above and beyond to just support the channel on a monthly basis. So thank you to our executive producers who are putting their money where their mouth is and helping to support the channel on a higher level. So thank you guys. I really do appreciate you guys. This continues to grow week after week, and it's so humbling, and it's really got me dreaming big, and I'm really excited to see see where the channel goes. But thank you for checking out this video. I really do appreciate you guys just hanging out with me and having this conversation. I look forward to chatting with you guys on the live stream later on today. I love you guys, and I'll see you there. I'll also see you on the next video. Until then, go and push yourselves 2 stops. Peace.